and Trump was visibly shaken when he heard that someone had been shot there. So, of course, he's referring to the woman, the Trump supporter who got shot, the one person who was shot and killed on that day. Tragically, Ashley Babbitt, really tragic that happened to her. She was lied to, and she felt that the election had been stolen from her preferred candidate, a well-known narcissist and liar, and she lost her life as a result of that. I mean, absolutely tragic.
Yeah, so look, guys, now note of caution. So I think I'm justifiably very excited about this news because we want to get to the truth, and we don't want another coup in America, and we want to protect our democracy, and these sons of bitches try to coup, and the fact that they are now turning on each other is the greatest news you could hope for. Now, the caveat, what Anna said there in the middle is very important. He apparently did not say that he heard Trump say, "Oh yeah, I know I lost," right? Because if he had that would be huge, because then you have intent to lie. Right? Intent to deceive. Now, Trump still has the excuse, at least as far as Mark Meadows is concerned, and as far as what we know about his testimony. They're like, well, golly gee, every other rational person on the planet knew, but I'm a moron, so I didn't know at all. I thought the mules and the Krakens really had stolen the vote, and Hugo Chavez's ghost was the one that stole the election. I'm the dumbest guy in America. Right. He still has that defense left, and it might work.
Look, It really depends, because think about it in other contexts. So if you are, let's say, speeding, you're going 50 miles an hour in a 35-mile-per-hour zone, the cop pulls you over. It's not a defense to simply say, oh, I didn't know that the speed limit here was only 35 miles per hour. It doesn't. You're still going to get a citation. You're still going to get a ticket for that. In the case of Donald Trump, for me, what I think is the most important is to see if there's any evidence of Trump himself engaging in plotting that fake elector scheme.
Yeah, totally. And so that's what the trial shows. Okay, so now let me correct a couple of mythologies that the right wing have. Okay, so first they're like, oh, you shouldn't, like Vivek Ramaswamy was on this show saying you shouldn't even try him. Well, then how do we know if he was involved in the plot or not? Like we have overwhelming public evidence, right? And we know that there was a fake elector scheme, and we know that they wrote emails about it, but Donald Trump doesn't read. I'm not sure he's even capable of reading. And so right now, would I convict him if I was on the jury? Well, I don't know. I didn't see all the evidence, right? I would have to see the evidence from all these. Right now, we know that these people flipped, but we don't know the details of all of their testimony. And remember, I'm not going to be on the jury. 12 random people are going to be on the jury, including some that might be Republicans and some that might be independents, and that might be much more open to Trump. You have to convince them, and you have to convince them beyond a reasonable doubt. So I don't want people getting carried away and thinking, oh, that city's in an orange jumpsuit, 2 weeks from now. No way, no way. There's a long way to go before that. And remember, even if he gets convicted, he's going to appeal and appeal and appeal, and it's going to take a long time. And by that time, he might have already won the election. I'm giving you 1,000 caveats because they're important and they're real, and you have to be honest with your audience and with everybody so you know what the real facts are. But guys, the mythology of the right wing is that you shouldn't even try him because it's deep state to actually go through a justice system. Mm-hmm. No, the justice system is testing whether you did it or you didn't do it. It's not prejudging it. Judging it is exactly what happens in the justice system, right? So saying that he shouldn't face charges is absurd, given how many co-conspirators have said, yes, we committed a crime together, and he was the leader of that crime. Okay, so then the second thing is they're like, well, you didn't verify the vote, so we think the election was stolen. No, brothers and sisters. I know a lot of Republicans don't know this, and this is going to go to one of the most important points. A lot of Republicans think that the vote was never verified, that they never did a recount, or a hand recount. No, all those states did 2 to 3 recounts, including in Georgia, a hand recount. They could not have recounted an election more than they counted this one and recounted it and verified it, right? And then Trump had 60 cases and he didn't present one piece of evidence, not one piece of evidence. And a lot of Republican voters I know it seems unbelievable, but they genuinely don't know that. They think, no, the judges were intimidated, it was procedural, blah, 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 no way, okay? So now you're going to have a trial where they're going to get to see this evidence, and it's to some degree. And it's going to put the Republican voters to a decision. What do you guys want to do? All of these people who are right-wing Republicans are telling you he did this. There was never any evidence. We definitely lost the election. And he wanted to do a fake elector plot to steal the election. Okay, and then Republican voters can say, I don't care. I don't care. I don't believe anyone. If Jesus Christ himself came down here and told me that Trump was the one trying to steal the election, I wouldn't believe him and I'd spit in his face. Trump is my Messiah. Okay, then you made a decision, right? Or you're going to say, or by the way, you could say, hey, you know what? I know we were stealing the election. So what? We should rule. I don't care if we won or not. Okay, then at least you made a decision. Okay, but there is some chance that a lot of Republicans, and I think a lot of people would be shocked by this. Hannah's been saying this all along. I've come to believe it, that a significant chunk of even Republicans, let alone independents, will go, well, I didn't know that. Really? No, I'm not for that. I don't want a coup. That's crazy.
Yeah, and look, it really depends on whether or not the individual in question, looking at the trial and looking at the evidence, is a good faith, honest actor. Because look, I saw what came out during the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and I changed my mind about it based on evidence that came out in the context of that trial. That is what, in my opinion, honest individuals do. They look at new information, new evidence, and they change their minds. Now, the question is, are the news organizations that Republican voters consume going to cover all of these various individuals flipping on Trump? Are they going to cover the evidence that'll come out during the trial? We'll see. I mean, we've seen them evade that type of news in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again.
And look, it's like I said, you got to put every Republican politician to a decision. You also got to put Fox News to a decision. Everyone in news should say, look, if you don't cover this honestly and tell people what's actually happening in the trial, not tell them what to think about what's happening in the trial, but just the facts of the trial, right? Then no one's ever going to call you Fox News anymore. We're going to you can call yourself whatever the hell you like, but we're never going to say news. So the Fox Entertainment Organization or the Fox Propaganda, whatever, they'll never say propaganda, but they could say Fox Entertainment Division has decided to entertain their audience with lies about the trial, but they're certainly not in the news business because they're lying 24. They already paid $800 million for lying. And God, MAGA guys, you think Rupert Murdoch, the guy who's slightly to the right of Attila the Hun, would have paid $800 million if they weren't lying? And one last thing. Trump in all these trials will get to present his evidence. And if he has the Krakens and the mules, and he doesn't bring them forward in the trial, you should be livid at Trump. Well, you had it, right? If you're MAGA, you think it was stolen from you. Great, you should be thrilled about the trials, because Trump will get to prove it. If he doesn't, and that still doesn't convince you, then okay, then you're hopeless and you're in a cult. But let's see. Let's give them an opportunity. Let's give them an opportunity to see the evidence and change their mind.